Folks, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, UFC, and the NHL. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Enjoy the show. There we go. Hey, folks, we are back. The Quigster is back from special assignment. I believe you were finding out just how Jet Luchenko likes his eggs, right? That was your special assignment.
You would think, but I was actually sent to the Panama Canal, Greenland, and Canada.
Those three connected places.
I don't know what you're talking about, Steve. I was just doing some work. That's all that matters.
You were finding out the origins of the Van Halen song Panama.
I was just trying to find any connection in how anything makes sense.
It all comes back to Van Halen at the end of the day.
It does. It really does. Wait, so Van Halen, they're an American rock band. They're not
Canadian. They're not Canadian. They're not Rush.
Okay, yeah, they're not Rush.
The only Canadian bands I can think of off the top of my head are Rush, The Tragically Hip, and Arcade Fire. And I guess Alanis Morissette counts. She's not a band, but she counts.
You're missing a crucial band right now.
Who's that?
Sum 41.
Oh, I am forgetting Flyperbole favorite Sum 41 right there. 41. I guess I am in too deep.
You know who else? Nicely. You know who else? Billy Talent. If you remember playing the NHL games during the 2006 to 2007 era or something, there was a Billy Talent song on at least one on each of those games.
That's 100% a song that I would know if I heard it, most likely, but I have no damn clue off the top of my head.
Yeah. Billy Talent was an interesting. I guess they're still around. Interesting band. They had some little early 2000s bop, hard rock bops, but
hard rock bops. There you go.
Yeah, they had some stuff.
I like a hard rock bop. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
But I'm back from Canada and Panama and Greenland, just scouting things out, and here I am, glad to be back on the show.
Tis the season, buddy. Tis the season.
Dude.
It was Christmas yesterday. We're recording this on the 26th, and
what did you get for Christmas?
What did I get for Christmas? I got I actually got Coots's 2 front teeth, which was fun.
That's sick.
I got some cool shit. My sister got me this little sign for the podcast studio yesterday, which is pretty cool. I really like that. My other sister got me some Flyers tickets. Trying to think, Emily got me some very cool shit, but I'm trying to think of the best thing to say offhand. Emily, what's the coolest thing you got me?
Christmas?
Yes.
I love this.
What did I get you for Christmas?
What'd she say?
Well, we'll double back on that. But I remember she got me. The Eagles Rocks glasses were very cool. She got me a set of Philadelphia Eagles Rocks glasses. Go Birds! So I got Phillies, Eagles, and Flyers right now. So I feel very good about my Rocks glasses collection.
That is quite nice. Yeah.
No, she got me a new vest for wearing with hoodies and hockey jerseys outdoors. So that's nice. So
you had a good haul.
I got a good haul. Yeah. We at this point with my family is kind of spread apart. So my sisters and I kind of just get each other some very nice things because we're not buying for too many people outside of each other. And then Emily and I always get each other some very nice things. But yeah, it was a good Christmas, very low key. And yeah, that's pretty much how mine went. How about yours?
Mine was certainly a Christmas I'll never forget. But I got a couple good gifts. I got a nice haul. Got an Apple Watch.
Oh, I used to have an Apple Watch. I miss mine. It was great at telling me to stand up.
Dude, I am going to download an app for my Apple Watch that reminds me to drink water because I forget. Like legitimately, I forget. And I feel like if my wrist vibrates, I'll be like, oh shit, water time. You know what I mean? And I'll be able to like, I'll be drinking more water, which is of course good for your health. So
I just need
wanna
a
do
South Philly guy to like scream at me through my Apple Watch going, yo, drink your water.
I hope that I can make that like a setting on the water app where it's just like choose your accent and it's just like South Philly.
South
Like-
Philly Goomba.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah,
Yo,
that's what
jerk
I'm-
off, drink your water.
drink your water. So yeah, I need that. But what else did I get? I got my brother got me a cool Flyers basketball jersey. It's literally a tank top, but it's like
Oh, I got one of those.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Bench clearers, bench warmers, bench
I
clearers.
think that's what it is.
Yeah. No, I like
Really
that. Yeah.
So I got some good stuff.
You got the guns to show it off. I don't have the guns for that.
Oh, I haven't worked out in a while, so I'm looking a little rough right now. But But
We're
take
getting
note of
swole
it.
together, friend. That's the New Year's resolution is we're gonna lift. We're become a Swole Flyers podcast.
Ever since my car got stolen, I've not been going to the gym because that just threw off everything, and then other things happened which threw off my ability to want to work out. But I am going to be moving into a new apartment complex soon, which I'm stoked about, and the gym is like crazy, and so I'm very stoked about that gym. And
I am all about a convenient gym.
Yeah, I'm going to be living in that gym essentially. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
I have the work gym, which is my main advantage to going into the office is the work gym. Cause like I'm a real grump about going into the office. I am a big believer in work from home, but like when I'm in the office, I get to the gym. It's much healthier for me in that regard.
Yeah. There's just, I don't know. There's like, I used to be really good about waking up and immediately going to the gym. And then like shit started hitting the fan and I stopped doing that. But like, I'm going to be
now it's just wake and bake time for you.
Wake and bake, baby.
And I'm talking about, of course, you're baking cookies first thing in the morning.
Dude, wake, bake, skate.
That's how you live right there. Just live, laugh, love.
There's
Wake,
a
bake,
band
skate.
there's a band called Fiddlar, and their name is an acronym which stands for fuck it dog, life's a risk.
There you go.
And they have a song called Wake, Bake, Skate. And I think about that song a lot.
Wake, I didn't know. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Wake, bake, skate. That's that is a way. That's a philosophy right there. That is a way of living.
It really is, honestly. Like I feel like that's the way of life.
It sounds like how Joel Farabee lives. Listen.
Really
I'm not making any insinuations about Joel Farabee, but there is something about the sleepy look in his eyes that makes him look like he's had some herbal enhancement sometimes.
An interesting thing about Joel Farabee, like, I don't know if I should say that. I don't think saying this is bad because it's not like he's a bit of a hummer from what I can tell. I've walked past him a couple times, and both times he's just like, like humming something. So he'll just be standing there, just looking around, humming, and I'm just
La
like,
la la.
yeah. I'm like, all right, Joel.
I always think I used to work with a Hummer, and he would get very annoyed when people would make fun of him for his Hummer. And and actually, did I just say for his Hummer? That was a weird way to say that. But for his humming, and his humming would kind of turn into more of like a la da da da, like he kind of walk around the office doing that. It was always really weird.
Yeah, that is pretty strange. I would not be a fan of that at all.
No, it was a weird guy.
That would
but
get real annoying.
Thankfully, at the current job, it's exceedingly normal for the most part. Like I've left a lot of my weird work anecdotes behind at the old place. So, thankfully it's very, it's nice and normal, which is good because it gives me time to, use all my weird energy here in podcasting.
That's good. Yeah. You need to reserve that. You need to have those, ready to go for a moment's notice when we need them here on Flight.
Stability is important, folks. And so, we're talking about, the Christmas season and you might have gathered at this point that I'm a big movie guy. I love to watch movies. Me and my family have always watched movies. And Emily and I decided to try out a couple of 90s Christmas movies that we might not have seen this holiday season, because usually we just stick with a lot of the classics. Like we rewatched Home Alone. Home Alone's always a great one.
Gotta watch them.
My family's a big Christmas Vacation family right there. Great film right there. But we decided to check out a couple different ones. So Emily had never seen The Santa Claus with Tim Allen from the 90s.
Never?
Never seen it. So we watched
Really?
The Santa Claus. And the first one held up pretty well. But then I was like, let's power through. I've never seen the other two. And we watched like 1.5 of the other two. I watched all of 2. 2 is so weird because it's like, it's kind of horny in a way.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because like Santa Claus has to get married by the end of the film. He's got to have a Mrs. Claus because, you know, he accidentally murdered Santa Claus in the first one. And like between like Santa Claus 2 and like Hot Frosty, which is the Netflix one about like Frosty the Snowman comes to life and has to like have sex or something. Like, what is it with like horny Christmas movies? Like, why? Like, when I see Santa Claus, I'm sorry, I'm not thinking like Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. I'm not thinking about anything like that. So, like, who are these people horny for Christmas? The mythical figures of Christmas.
So 2 things about horny Christmas things is I saw someone on Twitter shared like a meme that was just Rudolph, but like it was a sexy Rudolph with like a big ass, basically.
What?
Real slutty looking, and it just said Rudolph with your ass so tight, won't you ride my face tonight?
Jesus Christ.
There's that. And then what was the other horny? Oh, this is less horny, but like it is on the topic of the movie The Santa Claus. Do you remember the character Bernard from The Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Like the elf who was like kind of cool, helped.
Yeah, he's sarcastic and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So someone made like this was years ago. I'm talking, I was probably in like early high school or something when I saw this video, but some mega fan of the movie The Santa Claus was clearly in love with Bernard. And so this person made a video, just like a slideshow of like all these different shots of Bernard just smiling. And like they added like star
like a fan cam?
And it was a fan cam basically, but there was no footage. It was just like still shots of him smiling. And they had like some weird, like, you know, love song in the background. And
wow.
Yeah. So in terms of the movie The Santa Claus and being horny, I feel like that does kind of meet both criteria.
It does. It absolutely does. Yeah, that's a little disturbing right there. But hey,
yeah,
whatever you like, folks. What, you know, as long as you're happy and healthy, that's
go for it.
That's what, go for it. But the movie I really wanted to comment about today was it's not the Santa Clauses or anything like that, even though I couldn't make it through the Santa Claus 3 with Martin Short and his like Linkin Park hair. That was crazy. But I couldn't make it through that one. But we did make it through the film Jack Frost, which is from, I believe, the like mid to late 90s right there with Michael Keaton.
No relation to Morgan Frost.
No relation to Morgan Frost for sure, because this guy got stuff done. I'm kidding, Morgan, mostly. But Jack Frost was, number one, it counts as a hockey movie because hockey is a pivotal part of Jack Frost, because the son character plays hockey. He's got a Gretzky poster. He's got Avs gear all over his bedroom and everything. And he plays hockey. Like, you know, it like his dad missing the big hockey game, which as all 90s dads have to do in movies. They miss the big game, the big karate match, whatever it may be. That of course comes into play. So that was the first thing. It counts as a hockey movie because it's got a great deal of hockey content in there. But number 2, I found out a fun fact about this. I kept thinking throughout the movie, why does Snowman Michael Keaton, who's, by the way, his character's name is Jack Frost, and his band's name is like the Jack Frost Band, which is like, what?
Lame. Real bad.
It's some lame shit right there.
Real bad.
I kept thinking, like, why does Snowman Michael Keaton not look like Michael Keaton? Like, he he looks like a different guy. And it was a little disturbing when I look at the Snowman version, who I think was a Jim Henson puppet, is what I read. And I kept looking at him like, something's wrong here. Something doesn't match up. And I read in the IMDb factoids afterwards that apparently George Clooney was supposed to play Jack Frost in this movie. And they had already designed the puppet to look like George Clooney. And let me share my screen here, because I do have a picture of the poster, and then we can compare and contrast here. But oh my God. Like, when I saw this, it all clicked into place here, that like, oh, okay. So it doesn't look like Michael Keaton because it wasn't supposed to look like Michael Keaton. It was supposed to look like George Clooney all this time. Yeah. So share screen. So here, for all you lovely video people, you'll be able to see this. But sharing now.
He does look just like George Clooney.
It looks like George Clooney. Like, that does not at all.
I can't really like put my finger on how he looks like George Clooney, but he looks more like George Clooney than Michael Keaton. I can say
100%, 100%. And like, well, it's the chin, right? It's like the face,
the round.
Yeah, just everything about it. It doesn't look like Michael Keaton. It's very clearly George Clooney. So I was glad that solved that mystery, because it was bothering the hell out of me. Like, it just looked wrong.
Yeah. He's really, I'm trying to, you know what? I think it's the eye shape.
Yeah.
I think that's what reminds me of George Clooney.
Yeah. So
because the mouth, the nose is not a nose. So I don't know why it reminds me of George Clooney.
And the eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah, the eyebrows, I can see that.
Yeah. So weird.
Real bizarre.
Very weird movie too. I was not a huge fan of this one. Like, I've seen worse. See the Santa Claus 3 right there, the escape clause. Can't forget that last part. But it was not good. It was very weird.
I saw that movie in theaters, and I remember exactly none of it. I don't remember what happened.
There's not much to remember. I remember there was hockey involved. I remember that there was a big snowball fight. At one point, the bully like went to his kid, basically was like, I lost my dad too. And they connected in some way. And then the other crazy thing about this movie is the coach of the hockey team is Henry fucking Rollins.
What?
Henry Rollins
is
the coach of the kids hockey team in Jack Frost.
Oh, in Jack Frost.
Yeah.
I mean, still.
Henry Rollins
and Jack Frost.
I don't know. And he's like, at one point,
Black Flag is in
at Rollins band, the guy who sang the song Liar.
Yeah.
You're a liar. I was losing my shit. And Emily's a huge Henry Rollins fan, and so I was like, are you kidding me? She couldn't believe it. So yeah, Henry Rollins not only plays a hockey coach in Jack Frost, he also plays like the first son character to see Jack Frost in the movie. So you get to see Henry Rollins like look freaked out over like a real life snowman walking around.
Right.
Yeah. He's like on the local news, like, I saw a snowman walking around. It's like Henry Rollins.
Look at him in this. I'm looking at just screenshots of Henry Rollins just on the bench yelling like he's John Torts or something.
John Torts.
And he's like, literally, dude, like he literally looks like John Tortorella in this photo.
Here, I'll pull up the Google search on that real quick. So for the presentation right here, but yeah. And the thing is, Henry Rollins, when I think of him acting, the first thing I think of is Sons of Anarchy, where he plays like a friggin' like neo-Nazi rapist. So I can think of him in two acting roles, and one of them is kids hockey coach, and the other one is the biggest piece of shit you can think of.
So go over a little bit more. The one that looks like Torts that's a good one of him losing his mind.
This is when he sees Jack Frost on the street.
Yeah, the sun. There it is. There's Torts.
It's amazing. A+. That's so good. the audio only crew, which I'm sure is most of you, that this is a picture of Henry Rollins just grimacing and like clenched teeth, looking furious about his kids' hockey team, which, by the way, the bench on this hockey team was insane. I think there were like 4 kids on the team. Like, I'm just thinking about like the minutes spread out.
Yeah, they ran out of the extras or something.
These kids are just gassed by the end of every game.
They're
just all Travis Sanheim.
He must be watching Morgan Frost.
It has to be. They're all Travis Sanheim out there playing, 25 to 30 minutes a game at this point. What is I got to see what this is. Actually a great transition to talking about your Philadelphia Flyers, who
it is a good one. Yeah.
They are on a little break right now for the holidays, but
Thank
they will.
God.
By the way, I love that there was a break. Like they had a freeze for transactions, but that didn't stop the Detroit Red Wings from shit canning their coach the day after Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Derek Lalonde got shit canned today for Todd McClellan, which, yes, there are only 30 coaches in the National Hockey League, folks.
Oh, dude, how many teams? I feel like Todd McClellan has coached legitimately like 5 teams since I started watching hockey in 2012.
Let's see. Todd McClellan has coached. By the way, Todd McClellan also looks very much like a dad from like a 90s kids movie.
He does
like,
a little bit.
He's definitely like missing his kids' recital for, work. This is his 4th. He was the Sharks until 2014-15, then the Oilers until 2019, and then it was the Kings from 2019 to 2024.
It feels like it's been so much more than that.
It does.
Like, it feels like he's coached half the NHL.
It does feel like he's coached half the NHL. And I love that the Red Wings are just like, this guy's going to fix our problems. He's basically been a retread. He's never won anywhere. He's going to fix our problems because that team, Steve Yzerman is Tim Robinson in the hot dog suit right now. We're all looking for the guy who did this. Like, yo, Yzerman, the Yzer plant ain't working. Your team sucks.
He couldn't even win with McDavid. Like,
McClellan,
he went to the playoffs in 2016-17. In LA, he went to the playoffs for a couple years back to back, but like they lost in the first round both times. So like, yeah, he's one of those coaches. He's just a retread coach. That's what it is. There's nothing about him that's amazing,
Much like the rest of that team.
Bad coach, but like he's not a good coach, I don't think. So
yeah. No, and that's like the rest of that team, right? Like it's just a bunch of retreads right there, with the exception of Seider and maybe Larkin. But even, Larkin's like 28, 29 at this point. Like Larkin's getting up there all of a sudden. And it's pretty much Seider's like the only thing young and exciting about this team. Like they got to tear some shit down because like they got Patrick Kane, they got Vladimir Tarasenko, they got like, it's a real Franken team and it ain't working.
Right. Yeah. The Red Wings are weird. They're a real weird team right now. It's kind of like, well, I was going to say like they're old. So I was going to say like they're kind of like the Penguins, but like not real, because they do have some young talent, unlike the Penguins. So
I'd say they're like the Penguins in respect that like when they should have been getting younger, they were like, let's double down on getting old.
Right. Yeah. Which is dumb. Bad idea.
Yeah. With Kane and Tarasenko. Like they thought they were ready to compete, but they weren't as close as they really thought they were.
Yeah. Yeah. What a weird team. Yeah. Very strange NHL club.
Yeah. Just like our Philadelphia Flyers, who are also a very strange NHL club. And I have no idea what to make out of them.
This is what are we in? Almost January. I still don't know what they are. I can say with pretty solid confidence, they're not a playoff team.
I'm feeling bad about the playoffs right now. And there's a lot of factors that go into this. And I'd like to do a little segment right here based on a great Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, where Homer walks into a place and he basically, he keeps getting good and bad things. And he'll go, that's good. That's bad. That's good.
Yeah.
That's bad. And I kind of want to do a little round of that's good. That's bad. So that's good. Travis Konechny. 600th game on Saturday, 41 points in 35 games played. Travis Konechny a very good thing about this team. I think he's like a no doubt about it success story of this current
And
Philadelphia
he's
Flyers.
making the people like me who were like, you know, a little hesitant about that contract situation. He's making us look stupid, which is good. That's what I wanted. Like, I wanted to be proven wrong. And so far he's been proving everybody wrong. He's over a point per game player. So he's been great.
Yeah, that's good, but that's bad. The goaltending. And I would say, if I had to point to one thing in particular that says that the Flyers are not a playoff team right now, that would be the goaltending. And however much the defense plays into that, the goaltending's numbers are ugly. Okay. I got just Sam Ersson and Alexei Kolosov's numbers in front of me right here. We all know Ivan Fedotov has his issues, but he's number 3 on the totem pole. He's not worth talking about right now. So Sam Ersson, 7-6-2, 3.28 GAA, 8.72 save percentage, and was pulled from the Penguins game on Monday, the Festivus game. And brief side note, thanks to everybody who came out. Yes, a period too late for sure. Thanks to everybody who came out to Festivus. Huge success. We raised a lot of money for Snyder Hockey, and it's always great seeing people, even if I am extremely low energy. So apologies if you were there and I didn't say hi. I am on antibiotics, so hooray. But the less said about that, the better. But going back to Sam Ersson, we thought it was we were all talking about it too. I hung out with a good friend of the show right there who knows a lot about goaltending right there. And we were just talking about it. And it was just like, you know, Torts giving that shot across the bow that he did to Sam Ersson when they were coming out, when he's, you know, talks over to Kolosov and he's like, be ready. You know, that's just pull him in the second if you're telling him to be ready. Like, don't, like, clearly Ersson didn't have it that night. He was overcommitting. He was making moves too early. He was not covering the post well. Like, he wasn't seeing the puck well, it seemed. It was not a good night for Sam Ersson.
Frankly, he hasn't had it for several nights now.
I agree.
I think he's been playing. I think you could argue this is just as bad as he looked at the end of last season. He's not looked good at all. I was one of the believers. I believe that Sam Ersson could come into this season and be a legitimately like solid NHL goalie, not like some sort of, you know, top 10 goalie in the league type deal, but I did think that he had the capability of being a starting goalie. Right now, like, he played well earlier on in the season, and then he had that injury, and then he came back, and then he had that injury again, and I think that kind of screwed things up a bit.
He hasn't looked right. He definitely. I don't know that he's healthy necessarily, but the problem is, if you're Sam Ersson, it is an issue. And like, this is really your shot to prove that you're a full-time NHL goaltender. And like, the numbers suck. And, you know, I don't know what else there is beyond the numbers. Like, you're not in there consistently enough to really tell. So it's like, this is your shot and you're not showing us good things right now.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see more than this. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want him giving up 6 goals every other game that he plays. Like, that's like, if Kolosov does that, whatever. He's like a 22-year-old, like, whatever. That's fine. He's like a young kid. He's learning. Like, and granted, Sam Ersson's still young too, but like, at this point, like, we need to see consistency, like, at like some level of consistency. And we haven't seen it this season. He's been, when he was up for just a little bit, and then he went down, got hurt, and now he's just like consistently unreliable. So I feel like now we're having this conversation of like, if this continues, like, let's pretend this continues for the next like 3 weeks. Like, what do the Flyers do? I feel like you have to, because you can't send Sam Ersson down to Lehigh Valley. That would be dumb. Like, he's still their best. I think he's still their best goalie right now. But like, if he just doesn't have it for 3 more weeks, I think you got to do something. I think you have to put Kolosov in, or you got to get Fedotov. Like, I don't know what you do. So this is a real conundrum for the Flyers right now. And like, you know, they put a lot of, I don't want to say pressure. They put all their eggs into the Sam Ersson basket, and they're like, all right, he's a starter. We're riding with Sam Ersson. And, they didn't even bother addressing the backup goaltending situation. And like people could say, well, they brought in Fedotov. That's not addressing the backup goalie situation because he was as big a question mark as you can possibly have. So
it's a real let's figure it out situation with these guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. They're trying to see what they got. And right now they don't got much right now. Like earlier on in the season, you could argue Sam Ersson, he was looking fine, but like, we need to see that over the course of like more than just, a quarter of a season. Because that's what we got last year. We saw that he could be good in a starting role for like 20 games. And then if that, and then since then it's been downhill.
Let me ask you, when was the last time, so I have the numbers in front of me. When was the last time Sam Ersson posted a 900 plus save percentage in a game?
October.
November, but it hasn't been since November 11th. That was against the San Jose Sharks. He had a 903 save percentage. Since then, 840 against Utah, 833 against Columbus, 857 against Minnesota, 783 against Detroit, 840 against Columbus, and 643 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Yeah, those are ugly. And granted, the Flyers had not a great month of December. We'll talk about Matt Vey not having any points really in December in a few minutes. But like the goaltending right now, I think is a huge problem for this team. Like the defense has its issues, but they're not even getting average goaltending right now. Like the boat is very, very leaky.
Yeah. And like we're kind of seeing what, again, for the umpteenth time that been having this conversation with the Flyers, we're seeing what happens when the goaltending like is poor. And that's been their Achilles heel for quite a while now. Like even the last couple of years of Carter Hart, like even he was good, but then they had backup goalie issues. And it's just, again, goaltending is killing this team right now. And, you could put it all on Ersson. I think it's the whole group. I think the whole group has a lot of problems at the moment.
Their numbers are all terrible. Like, if we'll go over to Kolosov now, who I've liked a lot of like little things I've seen from Kolosov, but overall, like the picture's not good. His numbers right now in the season, he's 334 GAA, 878 save percentage. What's the record for Kolosov? 4-6-1. So,
but you know what? You shouldn't expect more than that from him anyways. He's a child, essentially. Like he's playing goalie. So like that, like I'm fine with that. But like the thing is like optimally, I would like to see that happening not in the NHL. I would like to see that in the AHL. But it seems like there's this weird thing going on where if they try sending him down, he's like, well, I'm fucking off to Russia. So or Belarus or whatever the fuck.
Belarus.
Belarus.
The Belarus social club.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing right now. He's kind of got the Flyers in a bit of a pickle because he could just up and leave. And, Fedotov is Fedotov. He's just not. I have no reason to believe Ivan Fedotov is good.
Right. And because he looks like a crazy person out there. Like he looks like a marionette puppet. Like he's like it's just all over the place. And I'll say this for Kolosov, like you can at least point to games where he's been good or at least competent. Really So let's look at his save percentages over the past few weeks. Okay. So in November, the 27th, he had 926 against Nashville, 926 against St. Louis, 800 against Florida, but that's a tough matchup in general. Like and I think he came in relief in that one for Fedotov. 871 against Boston. It's a tough one. They got Pasternak, they got Marchand, like they got good talent there. Detroit 962. He was excellent in that Detroit game. 769 against the Kings. That's probably that's easily his worst, maybe his worst game of the season, because that's the one where he has that killer goal led up to Kopitar, where all he has to do is cover the puck. Kopitar beats him out. That changes the game. That goal right there absolutely changes the game. And then Pittsburgh in relief has an 857 save percentage, 1 goal out on 7 shots. And he kind of just did what he did to not let up more blood in that game. But Pittsburgh had already done a ton of damage.
when he came out, he made that one crazy save right off the bat. Like
He
his
did.
first save of the game was
Yeah.
like that unreal. And so like, I just feel like, listen, I'm not here saying that Alexei Kolosov is like, he should be the starter and he's going to turn the season around or anything. Like he's not. He's literally, that's not going to happen. But like, at least we're seeing good things from him, which is all you can ask for from a goalie of his age. So that's okay. That's okay. What I want to see, I don't want to see I want to see Kolosov like making strides and improving, but I want to see Sam Ersson doing these things. And he's just not doing it right now. He's not doing anything. He's turning pucks over behind the net, easy goals, things just pucks just whizzing past him. And it feels like he's not just in it. It feels like he's just off. And I don't know if it's because of the injury situation. I don't know if he's hurt. Like, I'm not going to assume he's hurt because, he was already out. And could this be a nagging thing? I don't know. But like, if it was a nagging thing, I don't think like you can't blame an injury or a nagging injury for turning the puck over behind the net and it resulting directly to a goal. Like
that was so
there.
ugly. That was so ugly, that play. Like just let the defenders, let the puck handlers handle the puck. Just stay in net, buddy. Come on.
Yeah.
And that's just bad judgment making. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. It's like, you got to have your head in the game. You have to be able to, pivot accordingly. And like, he just is. You're right. He doesn't look like he's mentally there. He doesn't look like he's locked in like he should be. And that sucks because the Flyers, if this Flyers team wants to make the playoffs, and you can argue all day whether they should make the playoffs or if they should tank, whatever. The players want to make the playoffs. Okay. And if the players want to make the playoffs, if the Flyers want to make the playoffs, they need to be competitive in games like the Pittsburgh game, like the Kings, whatever. The Kings are one of the best teams in the league. Like it's fine. Yeah. But Pittsburgh is right there with the Flyers in the standings. The Penguins are not any better than the Flyers. They're old as shit, I think they have better high-end talent as far as having Crosby and Malkin at the top of the lineup. And, you can even argue for like Carlson or Richard Raquel. Like they have some really high-end guys there. But like overall, like the Penguins should not be better than the Flyers necessarily. And their goaltending situation is not that much better either. But like they got enough the other night. And that's a game that, the Flyers could have been more competitive in. And there was a brief period in the second period where they really took it to the Penguins, but otherwise, and this team has trouble putting together a full 60 minutes in general. Like that's the whole season. Like that's a huge problem.
What was their,
I throw that in a further, that's bad is this team just not being able to put together a full performance. It's like, they're either playing like a great first and third or just a great second. There seems to be no in between.
What is the closest?
Not even a great first and third. Like they might have like a good first, a great third, and a terrible second,
What is the closest thing they've had this season to a full, like start to finish performance?
I would say the Blue Jackets game, which weirdly finished 5-3, but like they kind of kicked their ass the entire game.
Right.
Like, they were great in that game, but like it ended up being 5-3 after all that. That one was good. Boston,
I think that the 2-1 Boston game.
2-1 Boston game, they were very good. I think that was one of their best efforts for sure.
And it's not because of, offense or anything like that. Defensively, they were just perfect, totally in sync. Like everything was lining up great that day. But it just, I don't know. It just feels like they can't string together start to finish complete performances. And you can't do that every night. You're not going to do that every night. But my God, let's see one every other week, or maybe not even that much. Just like, let's see one. Let's see one where it's like just have they had a shutout yet?
I think the closest they had
Fedotov. Fedotov got a shutout.
Fedotov of all people had the shutout.
Didn't have Fedotov get that shutout?
Yeah, Fedotov, I think, had a shutout. And that's pretty much it because, like, I know Kolosov came close, the Red Wings game a couple weeks ago, which, again, that's probably the best goaltending performance they've had this year. But, no, I mean, you got to give it to Fedotov. Oh, no, he didn't.
He did not. I thought he did.
Right, because the Lightning game he was playing, he actually was amazing in the Lightning game.
Yeah, he was great that day.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking was that Lightning game.
Yeah,
But
which it almost was, but then they scored late. And I thought that was because I put like I lost a bunch of money on that game. But like I thought that was the moment that the Lightning were going to take over and they were going to play at the Lightning, and no, they didn't. But yeah, like the goaltending hasn't helped, but also just that 60-minute effort hasn't been there. So that's a big time that's bad from the Flyers right there.
So I'm so silly. It was the Boston game. It was a 2-0 game. That was a shutout.
The Boston game. Okay. Sorry, guys.
It was
These all
not
run
2-1.
together
It was
for us
2-0,
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sam Ersson got that shutout.
Okay, so Sam Ersson holds the title of best goaltending. But the fact is, we're talking about 3 different guys here, and all of them have had like one really good one. And you can argue other games and everything, but like it's not inspiring me that we're not thinking, okay, well, Sam Ersson's had a handful of great games or something like that. We could probably point to like 2 or 3, a few.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a handful. And I don't think you can say a handful about any of the 3 goaltenders the Flyers have had to throw out there this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's their biggest problem. It's their biggest, well, Jesus Christ, there's so many issues, honestly. Like now
we're gonna get in the power play in a few minutes. That's a big issue too.
The power play, dude, the centers
are awful.
Allowing these goals off of draws, like they can't win a draw in the defensive zone. And it's killing them. And there's honestly, like it's kind of crazy now that I'm thinking about it, just how many
let's do another. That's bad. And that's the centers right there. Because the face-offs that have led to goals and back-breaking goals at that, just like absolute killers. And also the fact that they can't clear room for the wings to do their thing. Like they've had to see like Herculean efforts from Owen Tippett, for instance. Like Owen Tippett the other night against Columbus had to take over that game and basically win it himself because they weren't doing shit. The only center you can really argue has done stuff, and it's not even necessarily for his center stuff, just for being a good player, is Noah Cates. And it's not,
and again, he has been good. He's been like legitimately good.
And that's good. Noah Cates has been awesome. Let me pull up the numbers right here. But Noah Cates has actually put up some great numbers in recent weeks. Last 7 games played. I have numbers for both Noah Cates and Tyson Forrester here. Both those guys have 7 points in the last 7 games played, which is really great, especially for like a third line player. Like Noah Cates and Tyson Forrester are the Flyers' third line, sometimes with Bobby Brink, sometimes with Matvei Mishkov, but like they're the third line players. And it's kind of crazy that the Flyers have to rely on their third line players to put up offense like this, but they are good third line players. So I'm very happy with that output, but like, he's doing well as a player, but like, they don't really have a reliable center. I mean, Coots is off and on, and he had some good moments. He had a great goal in the Pittsburgh game, but like, I'd say you can't rely on him enough. And especially the fact that he's not really paying power play time right now. You can't really rely on Coots enough to do everything as a center that you really need. Like he needs help. Like I think if Couturier had 2-3 other like good centers with him, he'd be a different player entirely. But
I mean, I would think so. I mean, because he's not, listen, like right now he's the 1C. He should not be the 1C. I feel like we've been saying this for a while. If there's honestly, like we can talk about the goaltending, we can talk about, the power play, whatever. If there's one thing this team needs, it is a competent center. And listen, Sean Couturier is a competent center. Like he's not a 1C anymore. I really don't think he is. And that's not to say that he's bad. He's not. He's still a good player. But like at this point, I just feel like you got to get a guy like legitimately, like it doesn't have to be a game-changing thing either. You don't have to go out and get the next Crosby, but go out and get somebody who you can put on the top line and they just mesh, like they create offense. Like Coots does that sometimes, but like he's, it's not exactly his thing.
It's not his forte. Yeah.
No.
And if you look at, I feel like that's part of the reason, going with that's bad right now. Matvei Mishkov has had a really tough month of December. And I feel like a large part of that, though, is the fact that they don't have a center to really play with him. I think Mishkov is a guy that you get the right center with him, they're going to destroy. They're going to light it up. Like, I can't wait for Jet Luchenko to be ready. Like, I really hope Jet's with the team next year because, like, I think that's a guy that he's going to click with Mishkov. I think they're going to be really good together. But you need more than just Jet. Like, you got to have guys in there. And I think Mishkov, the biggest thing he needs right now is he needs some room to work. He needs some room to, like, be creative because teams are smothering him right now. Teams are really, like, latching on when he's on the ice and going to him because they know what a threat he can be. And he just doesn't have a lot of room to work, and they need somebody like, thankfully Tippett's been able to pick up a lot of the pace. Like Tippett, big time. That's good because Owen Tippett's really, he's picked it up lately. Travis Konechny's been there all season. Travis Konechny has been one of the most consistent players I've seen in a couple of years for this Flyers team. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
But, Mishkov's having some trouble right now. And he needs guys in there that will help him find the space to be creative and do everything he can do with the puck. He doesn't have room to work right now.
I do also think there's something to be said about, like, could things be different if he had like a good center playing next to him? Maybe. But I also do think, like, he's 20 years old.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
He's still like figuring out the NHL. Like,
it's a very different game.
Yeah, there were going to be bumps in the road, and I think this is just another bump in the road. And I think, we might see a whole different Matvei Mishkov after this holiday break. Like, he might come out at the Flyers next. Who we got next? Who the Flyers got next? It's
they got the Ducks, baby. It's the Gauthier game.
Yeah, Gauthier game. So, like, he could come out against Anaheim and just kill. And that would be a real fun night for him to just come out and kill against Cutter Gauthier. So, like, I maybe he's just still getting used to the whole NHL conditioning thing, but for the most part, he is. I think this is just kind of how it goes for young players. You go through ups, you go through downs. I think this is just a down portion of the season for Mishkov, and I think he'll be okay.
It'll definitely be okay. Yeah. I hate to see it because that's my number one favorite thing about the season. Yeah. It's just like watching Matvei work. And the fact that he hasn't had a point now since December 10th against the Columbus Blue Jackets just sucks. Like, and you can also look, like, I don't like to take too much heat from like plus minus because it is kind of a bullshitty stat, but the number's still pretty, is minus 11 in those 6 games with no points. He only had 11-27 time on ice in the Penguins game. So it's not great, Yeah. I'm hoping the Ducks are a good team to bounce back against. I actually don't know shit about how the Ducks have done this year. So let's pull up the standings real quick. I'm not surprised by that. They're a very young team, still figuring it out. They're 13, 16, and 4, 30 points. So they have less points than the Flyers. So this is a clear opportunity for the Flyers to show us what they've got, bounce back against a bad team. Now, which Jekyll or Hyde Flyers will we see is a great question.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they just didn't even seem ready to go against Pittsburgh. Like, that game started and they just got kicked in the face.
They got kicked in the face, and Pittsburgh was ready to go. Pittsburgh was in classic, like, we're going to fuck up the Philadelphia Flyers mode, which we've seen.
They always are. They're always ready to go. They always come out ready to play against the Flyers. And
they have been hot to go against the Flyers for like 20 years now, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty infuriating.
But. Yeah. I was talking about this with Bill. It's like, goddamn, Crosby's just been in the league killing the Flyers forever now.
Yeah.
Like, and he's not almost drinking age.
Yeah. It's crazy how good he still is.
It's insane. It's insane at this point. Let's see.
He needs to stop. It's obnoxious. I'm tired of it.
Please stop. Just knock it off. Sid the Kid is, let's see, at this point, he's in his 20th NHL season. So that's nearly drinking age of kicking the Flyers' teeth in.
Now, you know what the Flyers should do is just, if you can't beat him, get him.
I'm into it. Let's do it. But
he's gonna be a free agent here.
Didn't he sign a contract?
Did he? I have no idea.
I thought he signed not Puck Doku. What's the new cap friendly again? Puckpedia.
Oh, Puckpedia.
Puckpedia.
Did he? I don't know.
I felt like he signed another $8.7 million contract because he's fucking lame.
Gotta have the number.
I think that's the lamest shit I've ever heard of. But
yeah.
It's also $8 million more dollars. Well, actually, I'd say $8.7 million more dollars than I have. So, whatever. The joke's on me. But he could get more money because he's Sidney Crosby. But whatever. Let's see. Cap projections. Is that what I want? No. Guys, make your site more like cap friendly.
You're right. Yeah. So he has 2 more years of 8.7. So
oh my god, what a nerd. What a fucking nerd. I'll sign him at 40. I don't care.
Very nerdy.
He could probably play until he's 50 and be great. I hate him.
I do see him playing beyond 2027.
Yeah. He's going to be like Brady. He's just going to play forever and he won't stop. He'll be good until he retires.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that last Tom Brady season was pretty rough, but
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I like that.
Yeah. I almost wish he had gone more just to see him continue to struggle, but what can you do?
Yeah.
No, it was great to finally see him retire. Unfortunately, now he's in the NFL booth as one of the most boring color commentators.
He's not good. Yeah, and they are paying him so much money because he's Tom Brady, and he's not even that good at what he does.
He's so bland. He's just like a piece of cardboard out there. I will say I prefer him over Tony Romo because Tony Romo is so goddamn annoying. He's like your kid brother Tony got Romo. In there. He used to be good.
Yeah, now he's like just yelling and saying I don't like him now. He's gotten weird.
No.
So
he was so bad the last Eagles game he did. Like he was like screaming about this but like screaming in like a very like sarcastic, like jokey way about this like missed like false start call on one of the Eagles touchdowns. And I'm like, shut up.
Oh yeah.
He wouldn't leave it alone. He talked about it forever.
Yeah. He's still a hater. He'll always be a hater.
So. Always be a hater. And I'll always be a hater of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so okay. That's bad. The centers.
Real bad Flyers team.
Yeah. Let's talk about a good thing. Let's talk about Rasmus Ristolainen. Rasmus Ristolainen quietly putting together, would you say, his best NHL season?
I mean, overall, I think you would have to say this is his best overall season. Like, I don't think he's not going to hit, the points threshold that he set back in what like his second year in the NHL.
Sure.
But like he's maybe his third year. I don't know. But yeah, he's not going to hit that, but he's been playing good hockey, like really good.
I'm legit impressed by what he's done on defense, which is like crazy to think about.
Yeah, he's turned into a solid defensive. Like, I don't hate Rasmus Ristolainen. He's turned out to be a solid little player.
Just a little guy,
6'5", but like he's turned out to be a solid player for the Flyers. Something that no one expected to see. But here we are. And honestly, like, we're getting to that point, Steve. Trade deadline's coming. You got to wonder, what do we do? Like, if the Flyers don't get their shit figured out, what do you do?
3 months away.
I know. What do you do? What do you do if the Flyers don't figure their shit out? What do? You got to trade. You got to make some trades, get some draft capital, get rid of trades.
I'm in on some trades. I'd love some trades right out of the freeze. Like, let's do it. Let's get a center right now. Like, let's take one of the guys from the Sabres. Let's take Dylan Larkin. Like, let's get somebody. Why not? Let's take advantage of these shitty teams.
Are such an interesting team because like anyone who goes there is bad, but I feel like it's so common that like you just get an ex-Sabre and then they just become better,
Yeah. Sometimes it takes like 5 years, like with Risto, but like, sometimes you're Jack Eichel.
Yeah, exactly. Jack
Eichel. Who just needed proper neck care.
Yeah. Victor Olofsson is having a little resurgence in Vegas with Jack Eichel. So I don't know.
Well, Buffalo does have ambiance and decor that puts them above and beyond everybody else. But I would love to just take advantage of one of these other teams that are, let's make a deal. I'm in on a deal. Let's get creative.
What do we like? Yeah.
At the same time, like let's get more draft capital. Like, if we can make a deal at the draft for like a center, that would be awesome because like they've already got the 3 first-round picks, right? And like
they got to do something.
Yeah,
like they have to do something. This has become is like such a big issue, and it's been an issue since Giroux left. Honestly, before Giroux left, because at that point he was playing wing.
He was playing wing.
Face-offs, but like something's got to happen here. This has gone on for too long.
Because like Fletch had brought on Kevin Hayes to be that 2C, and that worked out well for like a year. But then like even by the time Hayes was done here, Hayes was like playing wing at that point, like it has been a problem for a long time. Like even like in the Giroux days, like they tried LeCavalier in there. They tried Braden Shen in there. Braden Shen never quite worked there. LeCavalier is a famous failure on that team. It feels like they've kind of been cursed with center depth since they made the whole Richards Carter move, because they traded away 2 centers in that deal, and it just never quite recovered from that, because that was the Flyers' bread and butter for a long time, was their center depth, having great 2-way centers. And like we even thought like Scott Lawton would be there, and I'll give some shout outs. That's good to Scott Lawton here, because Scott Lawton has actually had he had 4 points in his last 4 games played. He also had a 4-point game a couple weeks ago. Like Scott Lawton's done some good stuff. Problem is Scott Lawton also can't consistently play center, and he's not a guy you can really rely upon for anything except for good vibes on a regular basis.
Right. And and I think that's important. You got to have some vibes, right? But like, you got to add a little bit more than that. And like, we can't be relying on Scott Lawton to be some sort of point production machine, because he's not. He's never been that. He will never be that.
I couldn't believe because I did pre and post game for the Columbus game Saturday night for PHLY. And in pregame, we heard that Couturier wouldn't be available for personal reasons, which would end up being the birth of his child. I love the NHL though. It's just personal reasons. We don't know anything. So, okay, great. But like they put Scott Lawton in on top line center to start that game. I was like, are you kidding me? Like that was an insane move. And it didn't look out of place at the beginning. Part of that's because Owen Tippett had himself a day. Owen Tippett was unbelievable in that game, especially in the third period. But by that point, they put Morgan Frost up there, which I'm talk about. We know we're done with Morgan Frost. We talk about this. I'm over it. That guy had one of the best Flyers goals in the entire season. That shot he had for, I think, like the third goal in that game was unbelievable. But like, I don't care, because the thing is, in a situation like that, Morgan Frost, if he truly is your 2C, should be the guy you easily plug in at 1C. No doubt about it. You shouldn't be messing with Scott Lawton playing with Owen Tippett and Travis Konechny. Like, that's not fair to TK or Tips, because like those guys are super talented, and I feel like you're wasting their offensive talent with a guy who's just not that offensively gifted. And again, Scott Lawton had some good plays in that game. He looked all right, but like he's just not like all right's not cutting it for your 1C. And you have to have guys who can fill in for the center. The center depth's just awful. It's just upsetting to even talk about.
You got to just let it die with Morgan Frost. Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters.
Why'd you have to go and let it die? There you go.
You just got to let it die sometimes. And like right now, it's just, listen, I enjoy Morgan Frost. I do. I really think he could be a good player. We've talked about this before, Steve. It's not going to be here. He's not going to be consistent. He's never going to reach that level of consistency in Philly. And it is a shame, because I know he has that in him somewhere, but it's just not happening.
Ain't happening. Sorry, bud.
People are going to get mad. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to do real well.
Sure.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
It's a shame, but like, it is what it is. Like, I'm sorry. It's just like, it's not like Patrick Sharp, where you had him for like a couple years and they gave up on him too early. Like we have given him a chance to work here.
Yeah. He's had every chance, and it just hasn't materialized.
Like that game is the kind of game where granted, he had 2 goals in that game, which is great, but like, he's had a lot of chances, especially this season, to really prove to us that like he is a guy. He is a key player on this team, and he just is not consistent enough with it. And I don't think he's ever going to be. And the thing is also, he's a complete black hole on defense, and that's a problem for a center. I'm sorry. Like a center has to be defensively responsible, at least a little bit. Like wingers can do whatever. Okay. Like there's a reason I'm cool with Matvei Mishkov, like, I don't really give a shit what he does on defense for the most part, as long as he's putting up numbers. Like
Right.
Alex Ovechkin, not ever particularly known for his defense, you know.
Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane. Wingers, it's not a big deal. Like if you end up with a Marian Hossa or a Mark Stone,
That's cool.
That's really cool. But like that's
That's
not
rare.
a winger's main responsibility. Right. It's rare.
Yeah.
Centers are expected to have, they don't have to be shutdown guys. They don't have to be Ryan O'Reilly or primary Sean Couturier or Patrice Bergeron, you know, but like they have to be at least pretty good at being two-way guys. Like you,
Right.
because that's the whole point of you playing center, is having more defensive responsibility in your own zone and also more offensive. You know, like you are a main conduit on that team as the center.
Yeah.
Like it's not just about face-offs. There's more than that, which is one of the big things I've learned from watching hockey over these years. Center is so much more than just face-offs. Like there is a lot of responsibility with that. And Morgan Frost, I think Morgan Frost, if you wanted to put him at wing or something, sure, that could work. But like, as far as like doing everything a center needs to do, not the guy. So yeah, that's easily like, because we're also seeing it on the power play. You know, this power play, number one, it's a complete mess. The coaches have done a terrible job with the power play. Like their scheme is just unbearable to watch. But like biggest problem, like they have defensive players who are possible, you know, who can do the quarterback role. Andre was successful with it. I know Cam York's got offensive ability. Drysdale's got moments of brilliance, not enough, not nearly enough, but he has moments.
Drysdale as that's bad.
Honestly. That's bad. Drysdale's been disappointing. Good. And I was talking about this with Joe, I think, is like the thing that distresses me most about Drysdale is the fact that he's not like when Shane Gostisbehere, you talked about like his defensive issues, right? Like he was putting up numbers on offense.
Yeah, so it didn't matter as long as you're putting up numbers. Drysdale's not putting up numbers at all.
He doesn't put up numbers. It's kind of like, okay, cool. Like you can skate, but like, what else are you doing for me?
Yeah. Like the empty net goal against the Penguins, Crosby, like it just feels like it was like too easy for Crosby. Like he knew exactly, like puck comes up half boards, Jamie Drysdale's right there waiting for it. And it just feels like he hesitates. It feels like he doesn't know what play to make. And he takes an extra bit of time to decide what to do. But then at that point, too late. Sidney Crosby's already gotten in there, poked the puck away, and he's off to the races for an empty net goal. So it's just like, you know, it's a shame because like I really, really think Drysdale could be a fun, exciting player, but it's just not materializing again.
No.
And like same thing as Morgan Frost. Like there's potential, but it's not happening. And at some point it needs to happen.
And Frosty, I mean, how long has Frosty been here at this point? Like I feel like
way longer than it has been.
It feels like he's been here a decade. Like I feel like we've been having the same conversation about him for a decade at this point.
It feels like
Morgan
he's been
Frost,
in Philly longer than Scott Laughton.
4, 5. So this is his 6th season with the Flyers, but not his like full season, because his first season he played 20 games in 1920. He played 2 games in 2021, and then he played 55 games in 21-22. Which kind of goes to show you just how up and down like a toilet seat he has been throughout his time. But yeah, I just feel like we've gotten enough of a look at this point. Like I feel comfortable moving on. Like it's fine. So I feel like if you are going to try and work a deal out for a center in the second half, like he's got to be a part of the deal just because like, I think it's just better for both parties to move on. But that's going to be the tough part about watching this team for the rest of the season is potentially these issues are not going to get better. The center depth could very easily not get better.
It's a huge concern on pretty much every front. It's just, you know, from the center depth to the goalie situation to, you know, Travis Sanheim's been great. Rasmus Ristolainen has been great.
York's been up and down. York's
been up and down. And then, you know, Emil Andre, I like Emil Andre, but like he's still figuring some things out. And I think he should be playing. I don't think he should be in Lehigh Valley at all. But like, you know, there's an incomplete defense. This is not a good team. Like it's not
a mess right now. It's messy. It's
not good.
Messy as hell. Yeah.
And like they can be fun. They can be a really, really fun team when they, you know, when something is working. But so rarely, it feels like so rarely enough is working for them to win games and like have a good, like, true, like we were saying before, front to back performances. It's just, it's really, really unfortunate that they haven't built on what they appeared to have put together last season. It seems like they're taking a step back, and you kind of expect that a little bit just because they didn't really do much to make the team better in the offseason, but they did get Mishkov. And I think we just got to keep remembering he's a kid. And when he's going through these cold spurts, like, the team's probably not going to be winning many games. And look, they're not.
They're just not. It kind of sucks, like, we want to be excited about this team. We want to have fun with this team. And they keep finding ways. And as you're saying, like last year, there were times where it was like, this is a good hockey team. They can make the playoffs. Like
they were supposed to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they should have made the playoffs, frankly. I still can't believe the Caps came on like they did and have kept it on. But like, that's hockey, baby. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. Like, you want to be excited by this team, and for all those reasons, I'm out.
Yeah. Shark Tank.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just
so there's some good stuff, but it's a lot of bad at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I wanted to end on a fun note here, a fun note to end the show, because there's a lot of gloom about this Flyers team, especially about to start their annual painful Disney on Ice trip. But there was an article I read on The Athletic earlier today from Mark Lazarus about the NHL finding more unique venues like Lake Tahoe to play outdoor games. Had some fun, suggestions like the National Mall in DC or Central Park, stuff like that. Like, that's all cool. Like, I think that would be fun. The NHL will never do that shit because they are all about getting that cash from the gate. They love that gate cash, and they rely on it more than any other sport, at least of the four major ones in North America. But, there were no Philly suggestions, of course, on this list. So I took it upon myself to come up with some fun areas in Philadelphia that would be great to play an outdoor hockey game. So if I may, I will rattle off some of my suggestions here. So number one is obvious. Okay. Number one is like, I think this would be the first one on most people's minds. If you're thinking, what's a scenic outdoor place to view a sporting event or anything in Philadelphia? And that's the Ben Franklin Parkway in front of the Art Museum, or the Rocky Steps, if you will.
There you go.
The Philadelphia Art Museum. It's beautiful building, scenic view, awesome venue for the NFL draft a few years back. Like, if you're going to play an outdoor hockey game, do it in front of the Art Museum. It is gorgeous. You can have Sylvester Stallone stand up there with his arms like this the entire time.
Well, actually, Steve, if we're being technical, I believe it's the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
You are correct about that. It is the Museum of Art.
This is true. But that would be fun. That would be a really, really fun place for it. And kind of like what you said, they already do a little thing there. So
yeah, they have concerts there every summer.
No. Is that there? Or is that somewhere else? The rink.
Oh, the rink is not there. The rink, they do a rink at Penn's Landing and a rink in front of City Hall, which both those suggestions are on the list.
There we go. Okay.
City Hall would be dope. I think Philadelphia has easily one of the best looking city halls out there. There's already a seasonal ice rink out front. However,
I've never seen a cooler city hall than Philadelphia City Hall.
It's a great city hall. It's gorgeous. Yeah. I take pictures of it every time I walk by. Like,
every time. It's really cool. Like, I always do the thing if I'm like crossing like Broad Street on like, near City Hall, I always do that thing where I get in the median and I stand there like a dumbass in the middle of traffic and I take a little photo.
Dude, everybody does it.
You gotta, it's beautiful.
No, City Hall would be awesome. Obvious traffic nightmare. It would just be insane to do something like that, but I'd love it. I love the insanity. So yes, Philadelphia City Hall's up there. Penn's Landing is an obvious one because there's space to work because they've never built it up nearly enough. It's right by the river. Come on, it's river rink right there. Let's do it. The Navy Yard is a lot of fun. The Navy Yard, actually, if you were going to do a Philadelphia like outdoor hockey game that wasn't in a sports arena, the Navy Yard actually has enough room that you could like make something work.
Yeah. I'm just laughing because of what you have next on the on the list here.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, first we're going to start with the not funny one, which is Boathouse Row. Boathouse Row is also a gorgeous scenic area that I have no idea what the logistics would be, but you know what? It would be a cool ass view if you could ever make a hockey game work on Boathouse Row.
It
But,
would. Maybe the Flyers could make their outdoor jersey Boathouse Row.
Oh yeah, Ben Simmons can design it.
Boathouse Row.
God, those were awful.
Awful
They
uniform.
could not have made those worse.
Terrible.
It's just terrible. My next one though is one of my favorites on the list, and that's the Boner Forever building. Okay, what's more scenic or more iconic for Philadelphia than the Boner Forever building, which I'm going to pull up right now on the side. Did you mean Boner Forever building?
I remember I was driving up North Broad because I had to I was going somewhere from my this was after my car got stolen. I had to go somewhere and I was driving up and I was like, does that building say Boner Forever? And I was so I was like, there's no way. But then I was like, hold on, Ryan, remember where you live. This is Philadelphia. And I was like, oh fuck, it's a Boner Forever building.
Sure
Crazy.
is, baby.
Crazy.
Boner Forever. Yeah.
Beautiful building.
Yeah. The Boner Forever building. I think if you had an outdoor hockey rink set up in the Badlands of North Phil by the Boner Forever building, man, that would be iconic for sure. That would represent Philly.
What was that building?
I have no clue.
Because it looks like it would be a very important building.
Let's see. That's a whole other story.
Yeah,
I'll tell you later about that one.
Right.
Read this Billy Penn article about it. There you go. It was an Art Deco structure near Broad and Erie. Yeah. There's a whole story about it. Go check it out. But yeah, Boner Forever is an iconic building right there. And please check that. That Boner Forever. That's my number one vote right there, obviously. FDR Park, a good one. Eastern State Penitentiary, just fully lean in.
That would be fun. That would actually be a lot of fun.
How about just right on Roosevelt Boulevard? Just cars zooming by the players, honking angrily. You'll see 16 accidents during the game.
That would not be much different from a normal day in Philly. So I think we could, I think that we can make that one work.
I see you added one right here.
I went ahead and added one. I think they should just do it right underneath the L.
Oh, hell yeah. Just like Rocky 5. Rocky 5,
yeah.
He fights Tommy Gunn under the L.
Just play the game. Shut down Front Street and just let them just play.
How about right at K&A?
And then also an honorable mention here, just maybe around the Allegheny station,
Yeah, right at K&A.
Yeah, right
there. Yeah. No, guys, let me tell you, it's a scenic area. Everybody loves K&A. That's where everybody hangs out in Philly.
Everyone's outside.
Everybody is outside. Yeah, it's an encampment, you might say.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman should go visit it personally.
I think it would be great.
It'd be great. It'd be work out perfect. Yes, so right under the L.
Yeah.
And then my personal favorite, restore the Big Ben Franklin head to the Franklin Mills Mall and play under that.
That would be fun.
Yes. I think that's also worth let's see, Ben Franklin head. I'm obsessed with this thing. This is
a giant Ben Franklin head at the top of the one of the whatever I forget the company that the Eiffel Tower, not Eiffel Tower, Empire State Building looking ass building in Center City.
Liberty One,
Ben Franklin building or Ben Franklin statue in there.
There might be. I mean, the city's obsessed with Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
So the Franklin Mills Mall, which was the Philadelphia Mills Mall, and I think they just changed it to just
oh my god,
to the Franklin Mall or something. It used to have this Ben Franklin head that would say the time. It'd be like, it is now 12 p.m. And its mouth would move and everything, and I think a little carousel would come out the bottom and play music.
That is bizarre. I've never seen that before. That's horrifying. Why does
it was awesome.
Yeah, why does that exist?
That was in a mall on the outskirts of Northeast Philly near Ben Salem, the mall I went to in my youth. And they changed it. It was the Franklin Mills Mall, and then they changed it to Philadelphia Mills. And then I think they are changing it back to just the Franklin Mall. I don't know why the Mills is gone, but yeah. All right. Restore the mall to its previous glory. Put the head back where it belongs. Play underneath the head.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect. That you would get ratings through the roof for that thing, especially
Dude,
because everybody would be waiting for it to fall off the roof.
When they score a goal, Ben Franklin will say the score.
Flyers goal scored by number 11, Travis Konechny.
So fucking weird.
Yes.
And then the train comes out. Yeah, that would be a good idea. I love this.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
perfect, it. Steve.
Folks, hit me up on Blue Sky with what you think the Flyers should play an outdoor game in Philly. But those are my suggestions. And one honorable mention, it's not in Philly, but how the hell have the Flyers and Penguins not played at State College yet?
Honestly, yeah.
It's
that
insane.
Is a good question. Yeah,
they played in both Pittsburgh and Philly at Heinz Field and at the Link. Why haven't they done State College?
Penn State, now that you said that, it's destined to happen soon. It has to.
It has to. Like it's such a no-brainer. Like it's just perfect because it's like as neutral state ground as you can get. You know, I mean, it's closer to Pittsburgh, but like there's so many Penn State people out in Philly that would just like lose their fucking minds over this. Like it's gotta happen. I can't believe it's never happened. And like, you know, you could cry all you want about like the Flyers and Penguins have played in too many outdoor games, but guess what? Just they're like fun. Chicago getting them, they're fun. And it's one of the best rivalries in the sport. Even when the Flyers are shitty, there's always a lot of hate. And the hate's what it's all about.
Always. Yeah. It never stops, really.
Also, bring back these jerseys and bring back this captaincy. I'm wearing the 2012 Winter Classic jersey with the Keystone C right now. The Keystone C and A, the Captain C and A, are the coolest thing. I was actually admiring the Wild the previous weekend had the state of Minnesota captaincy, which was like, I thought that was incredible. I actually didn't know those jerseys had that. And I miss the Flyers Keystone one so much. Like they got to bring it back.
Those honestly might be the best Flyers jerseys ever.
They're dope.
Like legitimately, they might be.
I overpaid for this one on eBay and I don't regret it at all.
You shouldn't. It's perfect. It's like as close as you can get to a perfect jersey.
To me, you are perfect.
It's true.
'Tis the season, folks. 'Tis the season. All right. Well, we have been running on. This is a good old fashioned long one. And I guess because I did an hour 40 with Joe last week, I'm like, yeah, let's keep going in.
You guys did an hour 40?
We did an hour 40.
My God, I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot do it.
I could do it with my eyes closed, frankly. I could just bullshit about hockey all day.
Oh, I know you. I know you can.
I legit need to get some rest. So I'm not 100% this week, folks. So I'm going to go. We're going to get some rest. But if you have any suggestions for great outdoor spaces in the Philadelphia area that the Flyers should play, hit me up on Blue Sky or Instagram. Blue Sky, I will definitely, if it's funny, I will I think they say skeet, but I'm not saying that. I'll repost it. So hit me up there. It's Flyperbole or Este Bomb. For hockey purposes, make it Flyperbole. It's also Flyperbole on Instagram, TikTok while it's still around. And, Twitter's there. Ain't checking it, but it's there. I'll check it occasionally, but not really. Quigs, where can people find you on the socials?
Ryan Quigs with the Z. That's where you'll find me.
Oh, baby. Follow the Quigster. Follow the Flypster. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. All right, folks, I'm getting loopy, so it's time to go. We appreciate and love you all. Thanks so much for supporting Broad Street Hockey over the past year. We got all sorts of fun stuff planned for the coming year. I don't know if we're going to record before 2025. We'll see. But if not, Happy New Year, Flype fam. We love and appreciate you all. Tell your friends, subscribe, rate the podcast, and all that great stuff. And hey, until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey.
Wow,
wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow, wow.